المثلجات وهي عم تضحك وتحكي.
بدأت جمانة بأكل المثلجات وهي تنظر إلي بكل خبث وتقول
We called the program We Love Reading. It's a simple model. It's about an adult reading aloud in the neighborhood on a volunteer basis regularly stories that are in the native tongue of the child in a public space.
If children discover the joy of reading, and as you know, reading is what? It's about imaginations, stories. It's just the second nature to any child to live this experience. And children in our region and in third world countries at large, they never had this chance to actually discover the joy of reading.
How do you plant the love of reading among children? It's not about giving away books. It's actually about reading aloud to the child. That he or she lives in an environment where everybody's reading and reading in a fun way and enjoying it. And it turns out that parents don't read aloud to children in many developing countries and in the Arab world and Jordan. So we looked around us and we realized that in every neighborhood in Jordan and the Arab world, there's a mosque. We said, why don't we use the mosque? It's got a carpet, it's open to everyone, it's got a bathroom, perfect for children. This was February 2006, the children came, I dressed up in a funny hat, I had my puppet and a costume, and I had bought children's books in the native tongue, because if you're going to plant the love of reading, it has to be in their language, their mother tongue. And they were colorful stories, full of lovely pictures, and stories about their everyday life, so that a child could see himself or herself in the story.
بدي أسألك أكثر من سؤال. كل قد إيه عم تسمع قصص؟
بحب أقرأ كل يوم.
تحب تقرأ كل يوم؟ كل يوم شو قد إيه عدد الصفحات اللي بتقرأها تقريباً؟
تقريبا قصة يومية.
تقرأ قصة كل يوم؟
إذا إنه كان بي عنده وقت فراغ.
يعني إذا أي حدا تنصحه من الأطفال اللي من قدك، شو بتحب تحكي لهم عن القصص؟
إنه لازم نقرأها عشان نستفيد منها أشياء وعبر.
شو الأشياء؟
يعني مثلا أحيانا بقصص تعطينا أشياء مفيدة، عبر، نصائح، لازم نقولها للثانيين.
يعني أنت مثلا بالبيت بتروح تقرأ قصة لوحدك، يعني بدون ما أي حدا يقرأ لك إياها.
ممكن بكلمات يعني.
We have established an NGO, which I called تغيير or change, and We Love Reading has developed a training program so that we can train women and men to become We Love Reading ambassadors. That is people who volunteer to read aloud in their neighborhoods. And we've also started creating children's books to enrich the Arabic content for children, books about disabilities, refugees, nonviolence, social cohesion, empathy. And slowly what happened is that we created an environment of love of reading in the neighborhood, in the community, that was championed by the children themselves. And the impact was not just on the children's love to read and their increased practice and attitude towards reading. They also started wanting to go to school because they realized that through school and education, they can unlock the magic of reading aloud. So as We Love Reading was spreading through Jordan, through our training, and then to other countries around the world, the Syrian crisis happened. And because we had a flood of Syrian refugees, I like to call them relatives, family, neighbors, came over into Jordan. It became our duty and responsibility to spread We Love Reading also amongst the Syrian refugees, whether in the camps or in host communities. And so in 2014, we did our first We Love Reading training in the Za'tari camp. Today, many of those women and men we had trained are still reading in their neighborhoods, in the Za'tari camp and in other camps and host communities. And this shows that because We Love Reading is based on volunteers, and because it is based on instilling the feeling of responsibility and agency for their community, these people are still reading although we don't pay them.
منزل الكلب داخل منزل الكلب. هيك هنا القصة شنو انبسطتوا؟ أنا أحمد رشيد العبد الله للأطفال، وكنت أنا وزوجتي بنفس الوقت نحن اثنين اتخذ عنا للكورس. قرأنا للأولاد، كانت فرحة الأولاد كبيرة جدا وكانت تجربة رائعة جدا. قرأنا لهم بصوت عالي، حببناهم بالقراءة، أعطيناهم راحتهم.
Hello, you are welcome. My name is Jamalat Al-Hariri. I'm an English teacher in Relief International in Al-Azraq camp for the Syrian refugee. It was a wonderful chance to read in front of my students and all the children in the camp. You know that the child of war needs something in order to make him more relaxed and more comfortable. So reading was the most important experience according to this side.
وأنا سعيدة جدا أن أتيحت لي الفرصة أن أكون من هذا الوفد العظيم لأنقل أفكارا ربما تكون من أجيال أخرى من نساء من رجال من معلمين ومعلمات إلى هذا الجيل لينشأ جيل مثقف، جيل حضاري، جيل متعلم، جيل بمعنى الكلمة بناء.
And this is so important for international development and for any program, that people have to feel this agency. Everybody who becomes part of us becomes the champions, and they become Wheel of Reading itself. So actually any award we've received is actually an award for all these women and men who have made Wheel of Reading what it is by spreading it all throughout the world and creating a change through the children and through reading. You know, Wheel of Reading ambassadors range from 16 to 90 years old, from employees to retired military, teachers, nurses, housewives. Everybody and anybody can be a Wheel of Reading ambassador.
أصمم أحلى فستان أريد أن أكون
خياطة.
شو
خياطة.
It is a cost-effective program that empowers the community, and the principle and the idea of this is to read aloud so children can discover the love of reading. We have success stories, and 2017, by the end of 2017, in Jordan, we'll have around 1,700 neighborhood libraries.
So Wheel of Reading has spread by word of mouth, by people hearing us on social media or the internet, but most importantly, it has spread because every person we train, we tell them you have to train someone else. You have to pass the torch. And because of that, Wheel of Reading has spread now to 35 countries and counting, and it has been called a social movement. I like to compare it to the butterfly effect, the chaos theory. I'm a scientist, I have to put science into everything. So the chaos theory says, when a butterfly flutters its wings in China, there's a hurricane in the Atlantic. How much does the butterfly move the wind? 1 centimeter? But eventually, through time and space, there's a hurricane somewhere else. I like to say that a butterfly fluttered its wings in Jordan, and now as a result of that, there is a social movement, a change through reading aloud that has spread throughout the world.